we're hoping to give you guys some good foundational knowledge that can help you navigate not only how to use AI with Veeam, but AI in the broader context of your work. I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to one more definition so we can get into some use cases, but I wanted to share a really quick story for anyone who's feeling nervous about this age of AI. You may get called this derogatory term called a Luddite. And everyone who I've said this to has been like, what does that mean? Well, in the 19th century, English textile workers, specifically, I think Luddites were named after someone with the last name Ludd. They were in the textile industry, and they found that automated weaving machines were threatening their ability to maintain employment, i.e., what we're facing right now with the fear of AI automating out our jobs. And they actually staged a revolt where they smashed a bunch of weaving machines in this one textile mill, and it became this example of this anti-industrial revolution movement. But really what I think that people need to understand about that concept is this was really more about job security than it was about being anti-revolution, anti-industrialization, and in our case, anti-tech. So if anyone ever calls you a Luddite, just know that's a slippery slope. The flip side of that would be boomers, people who really believe that AI is going to boom and change the world and it's going to have all these positive outcomes. It is okay to be skeptical about those outcomes. We've talked a lot today about human loop and defensibility and explainability. We still see a lot of incorrect answers. So it's important that we're all recognizing that slippery slope in between. But let's go ahead, now that we're armed with the tools that we need to understand AI in this context, let's talk about some of the use cases or outcomes that we think are going to be really common in our space, especially. So we're calling this the map, right? We started with a Marauders map AI Harry Potter reference at the beginning of the show for those who are just joining us. So we're going to keep this map motif going. And Rick and I put this show together focusing really on these primary use cases. Risk management. So risk means lots of things, not just cyber, but are you spending too much money? Are you making incorrect decisions that could have negative business impacts? If AI is primarily about patterns and pattern recognition, then it stands to reason that you can use those patterns to mitigate risk. So we can talk a bit about that. Of course, we are in the data operations space, and AI is all about data. So how can this help us make better decisions? Speaking of which, decision-making at large, right? This is something that can help us tremendously, especially as we look to build off of others' best practices. Rick was talking about this earlier with entropy analysis. We're always looking at the tactics, techniques, and procedures of these bad actors in the cybersecurity space. So how can we influence the community with this kind of information so that you all can make better decisions? One thing that we are definitely going to spend some time talking about, and I've got to double click into this, is called operator augmentation. You've heard me say this word automation before. And I know that someone in LinkedIn just asked, missed connection, what is a Luddite? So I'll go ahead and kind of circle back to that concept. The idea here is, in the age of the Industrial Revolution, there were a lot of groups, including the Luddites, who were a group of individuals who worked in textile mills, who were worried that their roles were being automated out due to industrial revolution and due to machines. So now that we're in this AI age, this idea is coming back of job security being a very big fear. So what we want to do is highlight some of the ways that AI, especially within Veeam, is augmenting the roles. We really do not have a pessimistic view of the role of a backup operator in the future here. If anything, this is just going to improve the context and decision-making abilities of these backup operators. And finally, revenue acceleration. IT is a cost center. So where can you find these opportunities to make additional revenue for your business? And there's a lot of businesses looking to transform into that. Rick, I know we're going to double click into a few of these, but anything you want to spotlight here?
But one of these I want to highlight is the risk management. And I like reducing the risk in the sense of There's an incredible, okay, I'm pulling it back to Veeam a little bit. There's an incredible opportunity with this data fabric that we have, the backup data under management by Veeam. You can get a whole bunch of really cool insights from it, and we'll talk about that, with basically no risk to the production estate, which is fantastic, right? And back to Sneha's question, one of the best examples, maybe not from the 19th century, is trying to get people off of typewriters, right? I used to have to fight that fight and get them on word processors. That we had Luddites even in the PC era, things like that. So I think that the risk and the other thing that kind of I think would overarch all of these is consistency. That's one of the banes of my existence, right? Consistency, consistency, consistency. And one of the things I think AI is really going to help provide is just a common language about an organization's data. So I really love striving towards consistency. So those are risk management and consistency, I think are super important in these spaces.